because you know what? I'm super excited. I'm super happy because I have one more episodes with you guys here en Querer es Poder con Erika Carrasco. Today, I'm super happy because I'm not alone. I have a great loan agent that has been in the business for many years. It's been like me, probably more than me. But today I'm so excited because Monique Stanford, I have the pleasure to have you here with me, and I want to make sure everybody knows who's Monique Stanford. Welcome to my show, Monique.
Thank you so much, Erika. Monique Stanford, super happy to be here. Those were a lot of many's. You got to watch it.
many years, because since I remember, I know you, Monique.
Yes, I know. And I have been doing home loans in the Bay Area for many years, and about 24 years. I'm a native, born and raised in California. And also, I'm a mom. I like to say I'm a mom first.
Yes.
I have 4 beautiful children that are adults. I'm going to use the term loosely because we know what adults can be like when they're 30-something-year-old, right? Our kids. And then, of course, lending. I been doing lending for 24 years. First got in the business as a realtor. So I have a very strong appreciation for the work that you do and your counterparts, and been the fact that I have done that for about 2 years. And then I got into lending and found to really love helping so many of you buy your homes, get into your first home, buy investment properties, just really find ways to build wealth through real estate.
I'm very happy to have you, Monique, and to hear that you've been in the business for 24 years, so many years of experience. You see all kind of different markets. Do you agree? Do you remember? Well, right now we see the market changing so much since 2006. After was 2008 when the market went down. Do you remember?
Yes.
After that, 2015 when the market was trying to pick up. And what about before the pandemic? It was super rich, the market, remember?
Absolutely.
Very active. What about during the pandemic? And it was 2000?
2000.
2000, right?
Yes.
That was, I'm like, what?
Yeah, I know.
2020. So it is crazy how everything goes, but we always have to be adjusted into a different markets. Monique, right now we see the market go so fast. Do you remember the first house that you purchased? How was the rates? How long ago was when you purchased your first house?
It's a great question. People talk about interest rates, being so high, right? So I like to say, well, you don't know high. When I bought my first home, it was in 1986.
Wow.
And the interest rate was 18%.
Oh my God. You see? And we're crying because the rate is 7%. Come on, guys.
That's right.
The rate is not that bad. And I guarantee you, when you purchased that house at 18% high, what you were thinking at that time?
I thought that wasn't that bad because actually rates had actually gotten just a smidge higher. Yeah. And when they started to come down to 18%, I felt pretty blessed. People always say, well, gosh, but how much was the home? Right? When I bought it, it was 18%. But how much was the house?
And do you remember back then, the salary was very low? We don't have a high salaries like now.
I was making $5.35 an hour. And don't ask me how it is that I remember that, but I remember I was making $5.35 an hour buying our first home at 18% interest rate.
Wow.
So, but one thing my realtor told me, which I know we and you always tell those buyers, is push yourself.
Keep a note right there.
Right. You got to push yourself. You got to push that comfort level, what you think you can afford, and then what's really going to be pushing that envelope. That's what you want to do, because the more you push yourself, the more equity you start building, the more wealth you start building immediately.
And let me ask you, 18 years back or 24 years back, the house that you live in today's date, it is the same house as a first-time buyer, or you keep climbing every 2, 3, 5 years? Are you still living in the same house?
Well, no.
So that's the question. The most important part, Monique, is just to start in real estate. If it is a condominium, why not? Right. I don't want to continue paying rent. You know how expensive? And nowadays is everything. Food, gas. I mean, just to live here in the Bay Area, how expensive it is.
It is expensive. And you know what I tell so many of my buyers, and especially my millennial buyers, I'm finding that so many of them, they want to buy the home that they were raised in.
Oh my gosh.
Right? They want to buy the home that their parents own.
Oh my gosh.
And they have these very unrealistic views, and they forget that was not their parents' first home.
Of course not.
The parents did not live in that part of the Bay Area or that part of San Jose or that part of wherever it was that they grew up. They started here. And so we got to make sure that our buyers today and our millennials out there know that you're not going to start at the same place that your parents are at.
Correct. I remember, Monique, when we bought our first property, it was not a house, it was a condominium. Okay. We purchased that condominium. I believe the rate, it was around 9%. Mm-hmm. And it was many years back too, but it was a higher rate, 9%. It was not that, probably was great than, can you imagine, 9%? If right now people are complaining on the 7%, how can we make a lot of equity in our 9 or you and your 18%?
Right.
The most important part is to focus on what is our priority. Because sometimes we want to say, oh, I want to own a house, but I don't want to change my lifestyle. Right. That's possible?
Right. And they need to. I mean, sacrifice needs to be made. When you purchase a home, you have to be willing to make those sacrifices. Maybe you don't go and have a Starbucks every single day, right?
It is true. Or probably you're not going to be able to buy the car that you want, especially in these days. Do you have, how many times people call us, Monique, and they tell us, you know what? I just purchased a car. My car payment is $1,000, and I want to get into real estate. I want to buy a house. Why you don't call before? Why they have to call after they getting into debt? In these days, so much debt. People loves to buy stuff.
Well, it's funny you bring up debt. So nationwide, we are at a record high for the amount of credit card debt. Over $43 billion worth of credit card debt that we currently see. That is so much money. You bring up somebody about buying a car. I just talked to a gentleman last week. He had just bought a car. Believe it or not, his car payment was $2,000.
Oh my God.
So I was thinking about it, and I was thinking
what kind of car they driving?
I don't know, but let me tell you something. He's making like about $175,000 a year, making good money, living with his parents, buying, with a $2,000 car payment. And you know what he didn't know? He didn't realize that a $2,000 car payment is equivalent to about a $326,000 mortgage.
Oh my God.
So let me repeat that. $2,000 car payment is worth about $300,000 in a mortgage. So he has reduced his purchasing power by $300,000 by having a $2,000 car payment. And let me tell you, that has a huge effect on where you're going to live.
Especially here in the Bay Area.
Right.
Can you imagine if you qualify for $900,000 and then you get a car, how much? Usually the average payment on a car, how much it is?
Well, it depends. I mean, I would say about $500.
Not $2,000.
Not $2,000.
Hopefully it's not $2,000.
Right. Yeah, it's probably closer to about $500 would be
So for $500, if they have a car payment, Monique, that is going to take them away.
That's right.
For being able to buy a house.
That's correct.
So my advice for you guys is, before you even getting into that, let me call Monique.
That's right.
Let me call Erika and says, you know what? Should I buy a house? Should I buy a car? My plan is to buy a house this year. What can I do to buy my house, Monique? Should I get in debt or should I pay out my debt?
Right. So the moment you start contemplating or thinking to yourself, this year is the year. This is the year I want to buy a home, right? And quite often people start thinking about, what does my credit look like?
Yes.
What do my assets look like? Mm-hmm. What does my income look like? So they start wanting to make adjustments. But what they should really be doing is talking to someone like yourself or myself or any of our counterparts, and they want to talk about what are their dreams? What do their time frames look like? Because what I see people do is they make big mistakes by sometimes paying off all of their credit cards.
Oh my God.
So maybe closing credit cards.
It's very bad for them, right?
That is very bad. So they start making decisions on their own as to what should be the best. And the only reason why I say paying off credit card could hurt you, the only reason why I say that is because if you have $50,000 and you're looking for a low down payment type of program,
of course,
right? Do you want to spend your $50,000 paying off debt? Or do you want to spend your $50,000 buying a house?
Especially right now, I think I want to spend it in buying a house would be way better. Especially now, Monique, everybody's talking about the Dream for All. Did anybody call you on that program? You guys want to know a lot of more information regarding the Dream for All. You want to know if you can qualify, if you want to submit your application and you can get that 20%.
It's 20%.
I want to make sure that we give them more information, but you guys have to stay with us during this great conversation, Monique, because before we moving into that topic, I want to talk about what is the importance to work with the right team. Lending team is super important. Like me as a realtor, if I don't have the great expertise in the lending side, my transactions can fall apart.
Absolutely.
A lot of the buyers, they think, oh no, I approve for a loan. Why should I apply first? But how come you're going to see a house if you don't even know, especially nowadays, if they can approve for a loan?
That's right. So as you know, and Erika does, I have to say you do an amazing job at this and making sure that you are not taking those borrowers out looking at properties unless they've been pre-approved, unless they've been pre-underwritten, so that there's no surprises. The other thing I absolutely love is now's a time to work with somebody who can negotiate, right?
I love that part.
Yes, I know. So I like to call myself a pit bull. I know that sounds kind of bad, but you know
it's good.
You want someone that's going to bite on it and never let go, right?
Especially right now, Monique, the file that we're just closing, we get $20,000 back for my buyer. So we submit an offer. At the beginning, I negotiate $15,000 less than the listing price. And on top of that, we negotiate $20,000 seller credit to our buyer. Monique, what can they do with that money?
Well, you can use that money to buy down your rate. You can use it for a long-term buy down, or you can use it for a short-term buy down. In a short-term buy down, you can improve your interest rate by up to 3% from your initial locked rate.
Okay, hold on. I love that part. I love that part. So, buy down the rate. What does she mean with this? If today's day the rate is 7%, you know that we can negotiate the lower rate for you guys. Like you say, temporary, but we don't marry the interest rates forever, Monique. They always can refinance.
Absolutely.
So, and instead of starting at 7%, we can start probably in the 4%?
Yes, absolutely.
Can you tell me how does that work? And again, I want to make sure that you touch about it, that we don't marry the rates.
Right. Well, what's important is people don't build wealth based on, I'm only going to buy because the interest rate is this. People build wealth based on what they're buying. Are they buying at $1 million? Are they buying at $500,000? And that's what they need to think about, because you're going to buy this home one time. You only buy that home one time. But you buy your money over and over and over again. And right now, we are seeing that rates will come down. Will they come down right away? We don't know that, but what we can do is we can do a temporary buy down that'll protect you for at least 3 years. That means that you have 3 years before interest rates really start to come down, and then you can take care of refinancing.
You know, Monique, everybody's looking at it in the news. It's everywhere. We hear the news at the end of the last year, 2023. They say that interest rates, their Federal Reserve says that they're coming down this year. What can you tell me about that? Because we know that we see a lot of changes in the market, and people that want to get into the real estate, I want to make sure they understand how that's being controlled.
Well, what's interesting is when the Federal Reserves reduce the interest rate and when they start saying we're going to start bringing rates down, it's important to understand that these are short-term rates, and this is bank-to-bank lending. I can't tell you how many times people, when they are looking to buy a home and they hear in the news, oh, the Federal Reserves are going to reduce the rates by 0.25%. So then they say, you know what, Monique, I don't want to lock right now because rates next week might go down by 0.25%. That's not how it works. So it's bank to bank. And the long-term mortgage notes or the long-term mortgage rates, they take a while. They will catch up. But when the feds reduce the rate, that's going to help people that have equity line of credits.
And let's talk about that too, but keep going before we talk about that.
And that's also going to help people with their car loans. That's going to help people with the rates on those credit cards that we were just touching on. And so those short-term notes, those are where you're going to really see those improvements in the interest rate. And then eventually, yes, you will see them in long-term mortgage rates. But I did tap on that subject of equity line of credits.
I love that subject because you know what, Monique? A lot of our clients, they purchase houses in the past years. How many years we've been working together for many years,
Many
Monique?
years.
And all our clients have so much equity in that property.
Yes.
They make a lot of money already.
That's right.
Why they don't repeat moving along with that money? Oh, now, let me just take it back. If they have so much equity, more than 50%, most of the properties has more than 50% of equity. Do you agree? Here in the Bay Area?
Yeah, absolutely.
What can they do with that equity and start touching the first loan?
Well, I'll tell you what not to do. Just don't sit on it and do nothing with it.
They have to move the money.
You got it right. And people who build wealth, you ask anyone who builds wealth, they have a portfolio of properties. And so
investors, that's what they do.
That's what they do.
You think they go and finance with the rate that is right now? They use they buy cash? No, they use their line of credits money.
They can use their line of credit. So equity simply means that if you bought a home for $500,000 and today your home is worth $1 million, right? Then you had built that $500,000 in equity, right? Now you take how much you actually owe on your home, and maybe you only owe $200,000 or $300,000, so now you have $700,000 in equity. But the problem is we're seeing people and they're paralyzed. Why are they paralyzed? Because their rate is 3%. So they think to themselves, I don't want to buy another house right now. I don't want to take advantage of building wealth. So they're afraid. So all they need to do is they need to talk to us about possibly getting an equity line of credit. Don't touch your first mortgage. Keep that 3% interest rate. But why not take out an equity line of credit of $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 and use that for your next home? And guess what? You can now own another home and let's rent out your current property, or you can actually use an equity line of credit to bridge the difference between selling and buying, because many people want to buy first, because in this hot market, as you know, Erika, getting people to accept an offer that's contingent upon the sale. So equity line of credits are very hot for so many reasons. They're to bridge you from one home to the next, or better yet, they're to help you build wealth.
So if you guys have questions regarding equity lines, I would love to hear from you guys. Hopefully you guys can send us the questions. And Monique, you've been in the business for so long, so you can give them an ideas, what can they do with the equity. And like you mentioned, a lot of our clients, they buy the first property and they want to move up. They want to buy a better house. But something that you touched before, how can they do it, the buy and the sell at the same time? Or sometimes the market is getting very active right now because we don't have a lot of inventory. Sometimes they have to buy the house, and then after they can sell their house. Is any loans like a bridge loan, so things that they can do before they even put the properties for sales?
Yes, so you can use an equity line of credit as a bridge loan.
Oh, I like it.
A lot of people don't even realize that they can borrow against their own wealth. So many people have different types of stocks accounts where they can actually borrow against their own funds.
Oh, I like it.
And you can use those funds without paying the capital gains of liquidating those funds, right? So that's another way. And then also we have numerous types of bridge financing, not just equity line of credits, but also we do other types of programs like home light programs. We do buy before you sell, where you have lenders that will not hit you with any of the debt
and
from
that's
the exiting
huge.
house.
Yes.
So that's why a lot of people can't buy before they sell, because they can't afford 3 mortgages. But we do have lenders that will allow you to do that. And all we need is the listing agreement from you, Erika, and then we do not have to hit that client with the debt of that exiting property.
I love it.
We can be pretty creative.
That's very, very good. So if you guys have any questions, if you guys planning to move, you should send a message or contact the office. That way you can have a little bit more information. Now, Monique, what other loans you've been super successful that we've been closing a lot of the deals? Can you just tell me, a lot of people probably they parents wanna help their kids to buy a house. Can they co-sign it for the kids?
Absolutely. So what's interesting is when people are buying their first homes, they think they're really limited. They think they need to, maybe have 20% down, and you don't. Or better yet, maybe this isn't their first home, and maybe they purchased a home years ago and they haven't quite been able to save enough to buy their next home. And they think they need 20% because they're not, quote, first-time home buyers. So that's one of the biggest misleading myths, I think, out there, is that people think to get 3% down or 3.5% down that they need to be first-time home buyers. They do not. You do not need 20% down.
So let me give you an example. If me as a mom, I want to help my daughter, I have several properties. If I want to help my daughter to buy a house, she's a millennium and she doesn't qualify for a house here in the Bay Area, that I need to help them with the 20% down, or because she's a first-time buyer, can she put less money?
She can put as little as 3% down.
Wow.
Yeah, she can absolutely put as little as 3% down, and it doesn't even have to be her own funds. It could
Beautiful.
It could be your funds.
Great.
The other wonderful thing is she could be straight out of college. She doesn't even have to have a job, and she could be on the loan with you, and you can buy it as an owner-occupied property.
Take a note.
So she does not have to do that, right? So you can buy it as an owner-occupied as long as she's on the loan. There's also other wonderful ways that you can end up helping your daughter purchase a home. So if sometimes people think that in order to use their income, so let's just say she just recently graduated. We just had this happen with our buyer a few months ago. Just graduated, just got their new job. All they have is an offer letter, and they don't even have their first paycheck. Guess what? We can use that offer letter to get them pre-approved, and they don't even have to have their first check before they close escrow.
Wow, that's amazing. Don't you guys think? So if your son is going to get graduating out in July, in May, probably as soon as they have the offer letter, they can apply for a loan.
Absolutely.
A lot of the kids, Monique, we notice that they want to move out of, for example, San Jose. They want to move into probably San Francisco. They want to relocate to San Diego. You can do those loans too, right?
Yes.
So it's very important to, if you want to know what kind of loan you can apply, what can you do with that money that you have in your property. Now, let's talk about a little bit of homeowners, Monique, because for me, homeowners, they have so much equity, and I see that they don't do much. They're afraid of the market. Where do you think the market goes? I know where it goes, but I want them to hear from you that you've been in the industry for many years. Where do you think the market is continue moving forward?
Well, I think
direction's going up, or going down.
Every projection, actually, in the United States, we are seeing all these areas, including the Bay Area. And the projection is that we're going to see values increase by anywhere between the high 5s to the high 6s. Mm-hmm. So what does that mean? If you bought $1 million house, by the end of the year, you will have made about $60,000 in equity.
Crazy.
Right? So if you don't move...
In 1 year.
In 1 year. So if you don't move and you don't buy a home, guess how much money you've made in equity?
He's 60.
Zero.
Well,
no, you don't move.
No, they don't make anything.
Right? You don't do anything, you don't make anything.
And next year, they have to pay $60,000 more.
Absolutely.
To enter into the real estate market.
Absolutely.
How crazy it is, Monique. That's the beauty of real estate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So many people, and I'm sure that we both hear this, I want to wait for interest rates to get better before I buy.
Yeah.
Right? So guess what? They think they're saving money. They think they're saving money by waiting for a lower interest rate, when in fact, they might be saving themselves $400, $300 a month. But then, as we just mentioned, if that $1 million home is going up to $60,000, right?
Crazy.
So then now it's $1,060,000. Oh, but they've saved $250 a month because, right? That's what they're waiting for. Versus they could have made $60,000 in equity. So do you want to save $200, $300 a month, or do you want to make $60,000 on $1 million house?
And this 2024. We're talking about. Can you imagine last year? In the previous years, they make so much equity already. So it's very important to get the information, the right information that you guys need. Let me just give you an example, because a lot of people, they want to get into the real estate and they go and talk to their friend. They go talk to anybody that even they're renting like them, and they say, what are you doing? Don't get into the real estate. Rates are so high and the market is coming down. It is that true? Why they have to put the ear to somebody else and instead a loan agent like you as a professional, you do this for a living. Let me give you another example. If you have a heart problem, are you going with a general doctor, or are you going with a specialist?
Right. Or better yet, are you going to go to your friend who also has a heart problem? So he thinks he's the specialist, right?
I love that.
It's like, oh yeah, I had a heart problem, so listen to me. Same thing when it comes to real estate.
Yes.
It's like, just because you've bought a home, or even 1 or 2 or 3 homes, and then they become the specialist. I find it really interesting when people talk about buying when they're at work, then their coworkers are the specialists.
And they know everything, right?
They know everything. When you buy and you're talking with your family, your mom, your dad, your uncle, your brother, now they are the specialists, right? So what I like to ask those clients, and I know you do the same thing, Erika, is I like to say, okay, so how many transactions did your uncle have last year or the year before? I mean, I get that he owns a home, but how many transactions does he have under his belt where he could give you some advice that you can really, really take to heart?
It is great, yes.
Because I tell them, I guarantee you that Erika's probably done just a few more transactions than their uncle or than their aunt.
Yes.
And we're talking about people that aren't in the industry, right?
Of course.
Again, it's just people that say, well,
because they put their ear to anybody.
Right.
Why they have to put their ear to anybody? My co-worker, they own a house. No, they're not. They're renting like me. Really?
Right.
Why they don't put attention, and why they don't call, like, getting a specialist? You know, you're the specialist. You sell and buy houses. Can you just tell me a little bit more about this? I want to get into the investment properties. What can we do in investment property? Right now, Monique, the bank is not going to give you any rates. If you have 100,000, how many people they have savings? I don't know if you guys cry at the end of the year because they don't give them anything. The rate is so low. When you invest that money into a rental property, how much is the rents? How much money we can make monthly? Because the rents are so high, Monique. And I love to buy investment properties like yourself.
Yes.
Because we make a lot of money on people that cannot buy a house. Rents go up every year, 5%, 10% every year. So if you have a house and you want to know a little bit more about investment properties, they should call us, Monique.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think people need to understand that that's how they build wealth, is by buying investment, multi-unit. I mean, a lot of people don't even realize that, guess what? As a first-time home buyer, you can buy a multi-unit property. You can use the rents of those other units to help you qualify to purchase that home. I mean, again,
that's a great information. You guys take a note. If you guys want to buy the first property, it is 4 units. You have to live in one.
Right.
And you can rent the other 3 units.
Right.
And you can buy it as a first-time buyer with a minimum down.
With 3.5% down.
That's crazy.
Right.
That's crazy.
It is. And that's with FHA. And now with conventional, you can even put 10% down only on a 4-unit conventional, which they recently changed this year. Really opening up the window for a lot of people out there.
How can you save up money? If you want to save up money, the market goes faster than your savings.
100%.
That's for sure.
Every time I have someone tell me, well, I want to save money or I'm going to wait, I always ask them if they have their 50 or their 100,000, how long did it take you to save the money that you did up to this point? Right?
I don't think it matches. And let me ask you, based on what you see, Monique, what's the average saving for a normal family here in the U.S. a year? How much money you think they can save a year if they working making $100,000, $120,000 a year?
Yeah, I think that honestly people don't save anywhere probably between 10 to maybe, if they're lucky, 20%.
And the market, you know how fast it goes? Market goes fast than 10%.
Right.
So if you're planning to make any kind of better future for you and your family, I think at any time you should call a real estate agent. At any time you should call a loan agent and trying to see your numbers. The numbers don't lie.
Right. And guess what? They can call us and people think, well, how much is this going to cost me? If I want to talk to you, Erika, or if I want to talk to you, Monique, how much is this going to cost me so that I could figure out what I will qualify for, right? Guess what? That doesn't cost you anything. It costs only the time that you have to invest in yourself and to invest in your future. That's all it really costs them, right?
You see? Next question that I have for you, besides that, you want to know what question that I have for you, Monique?
What is it?
Okay. Well, you've been working so hard for many years, and I know you forever and ever. So my question is, probably a lot of people, they want to know how quickly you can give them an approval. Don't get red because you think I was going to ask something else.
I didn't know what you were going to ask me. Well, I always tell people how motivated are you? So if you get us everything, meaning, a full loan application, all the paperwork, which is the basics of the 2 years tax returns, possibly, and 2 years W-2s, 30 days worth of pay stubs, and 2 months of bank statements. Typically speaking, we can turn that around the same day if it's early enough or the following day.
That's great.
Yes,
Very
and
fast.
we will verify everything. So we do not just spit out pre-approval letters.
I love that.
Right? We want to make sure that we have no surprises. So when you take that client out and they fall in love with that home,
they can close.
They can close. You do not want surprises, and we want to make sure that we don't have any of those surprises.
That is very important, Monique. You know how many times I put a property for sale on the MLS and I receive a lot of offers, and a lot of that offers sometimes they fell apart because they were not approved.
Right.
They never verified that they work less hours now.
Right.
So why that happen?
Well, there's a lot of lenders out there that will issue pre-approvals online based on what a client types into an application.
Crazy, without verifying.
Without verifying.
Can you imagine?
Right, and that happens so often. So say, for instance, for many of our clients that might be engineers, they will put that they make $400,000 a year. What they forget is that this is their first year at that particular place, and they never received possibly RSU, income restricted stock units, maybe in their previous jobs. So they're thinking, I qualify because I make $400,000, when in fact their base is $200,000, and the additional $200,000 is something they just started receiving. So an underwriter can't use it. So now this borrower thinks I'm going to qualify based on 400,000.
Yes, based on the 400.
When we can only use possibly 200,000. So again, verify.
You see, that's why we see a lot of properties that go back active again on the market. They get pending, they get into contract, and all of the sudden they went back active because the loan was not approved. Very important to be approved, not pre-approved. Approved before they even look for properties.
Absolutely. And if your lender didn't ask for all those items that I just spoke about, then I would question.
Money, they can lose money.
Absolutely.
Deposits, inspections, and we're not here to lose. We're here to make money, right?
Absolutely. And so, to help people with their dreams
pretty
of
much,
homeownership.
People wants to have their dream, and dreams can come true if you guys plan it very well. And for that plan, hopefully, we can help them out.
Absolutely.
We can help them out to have their dream home. Question for you, Monique, how quickly, I told you already on the loan approval, but how important before, I told you already for whoever wants to see homes, before they see homes, they need to be approved. I already asked you that.
Yes. And you know what? It is really important because bottom line is when you have a seller looking at 5 offers, 10 offers. The first thing they're going to look at is they're going to look at that first.
Whoever is approved.
Right. And that's first page of the purchase contract that says whether or not they've been approved. Has it been underwritten? Because let me tell you, if they're looking at 5 different offers or 10 different offers, and we have some that don't have that pre-approval letter, those offers generally aren't even introduced to the seller by the agent because the agent is trying to save the time of the seller. The agent, the listing agent, just like you do, you're going to say to yourself, well, this offer and this offer has no pre-approval letter, or maybe it's just a pre-qual.
Do not entertain yourself.
Right. Don't do that because you're really putting your offer at risk. And I know, again, it's something you never do, which is why it's so important to work with those agents that are professional, that know the importance of making sure you're fully pre-approved to have give you a better chance of getting your offer accepted.
Yes, it is like that. So, question, Monique, because there's so many loan programs available, I want to make sure people understand that. Do you carry all the programs available? I mean, sometimes because they hear here or over there that they have these loan programs, every program that is available, do you have access to?
I would say yes.
Most of them, right?
Yes, I would say most of them. Why? Because we like to be the one source for you, Erika, and for any of our realtors. So if we have a client that has a low down payment FHA government loan, yes, we can do that. VA government loan, yes, we can do that. Bank statement loan, yes, we can do that. ITINs, yes, we can do that. There's numerous equity line of credits. So there's all these different ways in which we can help people get into their first home or buy their next investment property, right? Also DSCR loans, which means that now the property needs to qualify, not the buyer.
Correct.
Do we have all of those loans? Absolutely. And I do love thinking out of the boxes, and I do love challenges, right?
Okay.
So I can be pretty creative where people were not qualified with their current bank and they came to me and we were able to get them into their first home.
I love it. That's why you're a great loan agent for many years.
Thank you.
And that's why you're being a top agent in the Bay Area for a long time. My last question I have another 2-3 questions.
Okay.
Almost done. But we have a lot of self-employees in the Bay Area. Can they get any programs for self-employed people, especially now at this time that they don't report the taxes yet? Can they qualify for any programs?
Yeah, so there's nothing wrong with being self-employed, right? So you can get pretty much any type of loan out there and be self-employed. The issue comes when people are self-employed and they have some very big, large deductions. And so say, for instance, they might make $400,000 in gross receipts, but once they pay everyone on their payroll,
correct,
once they pay all their bills, once they pay their leases, now that $300,000 has gone down to 100,000, right?
And then especially that they don't like to usually report a lot of their taxes. Why people doesn't like to report taxes?
Well, here's the thing. They're reporting their income. They're just taking advantage of some great deductions.
You say that.
Right?
Yes.
So that's it. And we've got to be real careful because people do report all their income. They just generally take advantage of the great opportunities of being self-employed, which is a reason why a lot of people love being self-employed, is because you can take advantage of those benefits and pay less in taxes. However, then you end up, you can't tell the government, hey, woe is me, look at little old me, I only made 100,000, right? And then go to an underwriter and say, well, I want to buy a $2 million house.
Really?
Right? So you can't do both. We call it have your cake and eat it too. Okay?
Oh my goodness.
So, but what I always tell people is you don't want to change how you do your taxes. You don't want to suddenly start paying a lot more in taxes and not taking advantage of those deductions. Because why not just get a bank statement loan, right?
So they have a bank, you guys have a bank statement program.
We have P&L loans, meaning that we just need profit and loss statements. We have bank statement loans. We have 12 months loans. We have 24 months loans. We have many different types of choices for you self-employed individuals, because I always tell people, because they'll say, well, maybe I should just go ahead and report more income and take less deductions. And I tell them, why pay more hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes? Why do that just to save $100 or $1,000 a month in interest?
It's true. Yeah.
Think about it. You're going to save $1,000 a month. Okay, so that saved you $12,000 because, whoa, you reported you didn't take all those deductions, and now you're showing more income. But look now you're paying hundreds of $1,000s in taxes that you really don't need to because you are self-employed. So we do have wonderful options for our self-employed.
So self-employees, take a note. If you own your own business, you want to know what kind of programs you guys can apply. That's a great program. Bank statement program.
Bank statement programs and profit and loss programs. So we just need.
So it's two different ones.
CPA. Oh yeah, CPA letters. Yep. There's a lot that we can actually offer.
Beautiful. Monique, and everybody's waiting for this wonderful program, Dream for All in California.
Yes.
Who can apply? They should wait until April. I believe they opening up in April 3rd.
Yeah, April 3rd.
Should they wait? What is the advice that you give them? Because I believe they need to be approved, right?
That's right. That's right. So you want to have all your ducks in a row before April 3rd. You really need to contact your lender today if you are looking to get your name in for that lottery for the Dream for All, because this is a wonderful opportunity for so many of you out there that thought to yourself, I could never buy. Why? Because I cannot save this money. You might be making a significant amount of money, but your rent is $4,000 or $5,000 a month, right?
Yes.
This is the best opportunity for you because you can get up to $150,000 towards your down payment. It could be the full 20%, or people don't realize you can buy, a $1.2 million house. You do not need to use it for the full 20. It can be 10%. It could be 15%.
What happens if they have extra money out of their pocket? If they can take advantage of the 20% that they're give it to them, plus if they have another 10% extra, can they put more down payment?
They can only put an additional 5.
Oh my goodness, but the rest of the money, they can do the buy down the rate.
Absolutely, absolutely. They can use the rest of the funds to buy down the rate, or maybe even to get rid of their mortgage insurance.
I love that.
There's wonderful ways that they can use the rest of their funds.
Hey, I was going to say this. As long as it's involved that you guys have extra money, you're always going to find a way to make it better for our clients, Monique.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So lower payments, closing costs, or no mortgage. Nobody wants to pay the MI, the mortgage insurance.
Right. Well, you know what's funny is people think mortgage insurance is really expensive. And if you're putting, say, 10% down and you have good credit, depending on your loan amount, your mortgage insurance can easily be below $100. And again, this really depends on 100%.
That's low.
People are always always shocked. They're like, I don't want to put 20% or I don't want to put 10% down because I don't want to pay mortgage insurance. And then I tell them what their payment is and they're shocked. And it's like, well, wait a minute. I can actually save an extra $100,000 and keep it in my bank account and just to spend an extra $70, $80 a month.
It's crazy.
So mortgage insurance isn't that bad, you know.
So you guys take a note on the mortgage insurance. So now for our Dream for All is coming out. Make sure you guys fully approve before. Monique, they have to be a first-time buyers. Make sure that they don't wait until April 3rd to go and bring your paperwork to the loan agent.
That's right. That's right. So one of the main things about the new Dream for All that they just rolled out for 2024 is it's not just about being a first-time home buyer, but you also need to be a first generation. But keep in mind, if you have two borrowers, only one of them needs to be the first generation home buyer. So both of them do not have to be, right? So only one has to be. So that's really cool. And that we find that with a lot of our buyers that maybe one of them are. There's also income restrictions, which are also pretty flexible. I mean, in Santa Clara County, it's like $287,000 for the household. So it's pretty high. It's much higher than a lot of people think.
For sure.
And so those two are some pretty important things. Credit scores are also something that they're looking at. But the main thing is you want to get pre-approved now. You want to get, there's also courses you need to take. You need to take a workshop, an online course. You have to have an appointment with a counselor. So these numerous little steps, a lot of things. Don't wait till April 3rd to do it. You want to get all of this done so that come April 3rd, or actually I think it's towards the end of the month, they can pick your name so that you can buy your first home.
Oh, you guys see? Hopefully you guys take advantage of a lot of different loan programs, a lot of down payment assistance that we can provide. Monique, do you remember it was last year when the Dream for All was out and it lasts 2 weeks? It was 2 weeks or 1 week?
Yeah, I still have what's it called? PSP, what is it? What is it? Oh gosh.
PTSD.
Yes, PTSD. Thank you. I had to go to our crew for that. I still have PTSD for that because we had so many clients that were approved. We had people with offers accepted, and we were waiting for the Dream for All to approve them and release the funds, and then they ran out in less than 2 weeks, Erika. It was in less than 2 weeks.
But they don't call you when they open the applications. They call you way before to get them prepared. So make sure you get prepared before April 1st. Let's be ready. That way they can submit their application. Monique, it was a wonderful information. But before we close this episode, what kind of advice do you can give them if anybody up there is undecided if they want to buy a property, they want to buy for first time or an investment? What kind of advice you can give them? Because they want to make sure they get this advice from somebody like you as a professional, that you own so many properties. So give them a great advice. That way they can get into the real estate market.
Oh gosh, I think that the advice that I can give you is to know that you are capable of buying your first home.
Yes.
And a lot of times people think, I can't do it. I can't afford it. I don't have the down payment. I don't have that great credit. I don't make the kind of money that my friends make. You'll be amazed. When there's a will, there's a way. Mm-hmm. So if you are motivated and you are excited to buy a home, don't tell yourself you can't do it. Because I was a single mom and I bought my first home, and a lot of us have struggled here. And bottom line is, in the Bay Area, it is so difficult. You think good things happen to other people, but good things can happen to you. So you deserve it. You deserve it to own real estate. You deserve to build wealth. And all you got to do is make that call. Call Erika, call myself, make that first call to see how you can suddenly start building wealth. So don't be paralyzed by fear.
Correct.
That's the thing. Don't be paralyzed by fear. Make that first call and see what you're capable of accomplishing for yourself.
They need to have a plan. That's the first step. Just have a plan. you can always, do you need help to have a plan? We love to sit down with you and let's go over the numbers, Monique.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes if it is pay off debt, or how can we restore our credit to bring it up, and maybe we just need to go over what is our plan, and let's put priorities in place too.
That's right. Let's
because priorities is going to be taking us to a different level. But Monique, I love all the conversation, but
it was fun.
You know, it was.
Next time, maybe we'll have champagne.
Yeah, champagne instead of water. But people wants to learn a lot more. They want to know a lot more information. How can they find you, Monique?
Well, the best way is probably to go ahead and you can text me or you can email me. But my name again is Monique Stanford, and we'll have all my contact information provided on the link below.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you guys for this, for always following us in Querer es Poder. Hopefully you guys like all the information, and make sure you share with the family, friends, and we're going to have a lot of more great information like this. You know, I would love to talk about transferring their basis taxes into a new properties. You know, a lot of people wants to retire, and they wanna moving into a probably cheaper house, or in a lower price. Or a lot of the retirees, they wanna moving into a ranch with 2 homes. How can they transfer those taxes? Can we talk about? And later on,
I would love to. My husband and I did that last time. So yes, I'd love to share how we did that.
A lot of people wants to know that. How can I transfer my basis, my taxes? I don't want to pay the new taxes right now. So that's the next, probably one of the next topics for our next episode. So thank you so much. And thank you guys. And we see you guys in the next episodes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.